Hi guys, it's Karen Purdy, and I am super excited to go through one of the newest items that will be going up in the shop. This is going to be released for pre-order, and I'm only going to make a limited quantity, but that's not what this video is about, because this video I'm going to put on my website as a reference in case you prefer watching video instructions versus reading through instructions like this. Now I will say that there are 4 pages that come with it in case you prefer reading the instructions, but this video is going to walk you through exactly what this is and how to do it. So there are, I guess you could say, 2 parts to each kit. One varies, and that's the decorative, which I'm going to just take and set aside for now. And that's going to leave me with this part right here, which is the base. And the base has some different sections to it. So these are the drawers, like so. These are the frames. And these are what's going to make the finished product. But we're going to set this aside, and we're going to start with these pieces right here just to start. Now, in order to assemble this kit, you are going to need a few tools. You're going to need a pair of scissors. You're going to need some kind of glue or adhesive. For some of the pieces, you can use a double-sided tape if you prefer. But a glue, just glue will work, and for most of the pieces, you're going to want a wet adhesive that gives you more room for flexibility. You're also going to need, and this is semi-optional but highly recommended, you're going to need a probably a 1/4 inch hole punch. Let me empty that out. Okay, and so let's get started. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the drawers, and I'm just going to assemble one. And I'm going to zoom in so you can see how I do it. Now there's a number of different ways. If you're brand new to paper crafting, then you're going to want to follow the instructions. But if you're comfortable with paper crafting, you'll know that when you get something like this that's scored on all the sides, you'll know how to make it into a box, and you'll probably have your own preference on how to cut the tabs. Because there are a number of different ways to do it. But I'm just going to show you one easy way, which is just to cut. I'm not sure how well you can see the score line, but you're going to want to cut from the end and stop at the score line. And you're going to want to do that on opposite sides. Just like that. And then turn it around. And you're going to want to cut just like that. And just like that. And then you're going to want to fold up all of the sides like so, right along all of the score lines, and you're going to want to fold up your tabs. And before you apply any glue, you're going to want to just kind of hold it down and see that's what it's going to look like. And you're going to want to make sure everything lines up, and if anything sticks out, then you can cut at a little angle on your tab, just like so. And that'll just give you a little bit more room. I don't need to do that though. So I'm going to go ahead and take my glue now. I'm going to fold in all of the tabs. I'm going to apply the adhesive just on the top of each of the tabs. And a little goes a long way, especially with the kind of glue that I'm using. And if you prefer, you can even use hot glue. So now that I have the adhesive on, I'm just going to fold up all the sides, and I'm going to kind of straighten it out and just press firmly to hold it in place. Now the glue that I have sets pretty quickly. It gives you a little bit of wiggle room compared to double-sided tape, but it does set pretty quickly. And if you're using a glue that takes a little bit longer to dry, you may want to use paper clips to hold everything in place while you set it aside. So that's how you assemble a drawer. Okay? You're going to repeat this process for all 12 of the drawers. Now the next step is this piece right here. This is your frame. And as you can see, it has 1, 2, 3, 4 score marks. Now what you're going to do, it doesn't matter which side you have, but you're going to want to fold them all in the same direction. So I'm going to fold up, 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 and up. And you're going to see, once this is done, there's two end pieces. There's a shorter one and a longer one. And the shorter one is going to go on the inside, like so. And what this is a frame for your drawer. So it should wrap perfectly around your drawer, as you can see. Now for this, you can use adhesive, or you can like glue, or you can use double-sided tape if you find that to be quicker. This is the way that I like to do it. I lay it flat once everything's folded. I'm going to put this side up, and I'm going to apply some glue right there. I'm also going to apply some glue right there. And then on the second score line, I'm going to fold this up, and I'm just going to run my finger over it just to secure the glue. And then it should pop up like so, and your drawer will slide right inside. Just like so. Now I need to go through and finish all 12 of these. So for the frame, as a reminder, you're going to fold up in the same direction along each of the score marks, and that's just going to make sure everything folds nice and straight. And then you're going to take the shorter end and you're going to fold it over, and this longer end you're going to leave down for the moment. You're going to take your adhesive and put it in the two places I'm showing you. Well, I'll zoom in. See, this is the shorter end right here. I'm going to put adhesive right there and right there. And then from the second score line in, right there, I'm going to fold this over. I'm going to line up the sides, and I'm just going to run kind of like a bone folder with my finger over where the glue is just to secure it. And that's how easy the frames are to make. So let's look at one more. Leave the short end over, glue the second score line, and fold it over, and it should be nice and perfectly even like so. Now I have all 12 of my frames done. Before I finish assembling the drawers, I will go ahead and show you how to assemble the box using the frames. So these pieces that we set aside, you're going to take one of the large squares, and this is going to be the bottom. And then the side that has the overlap is going to be the bottom side. You're going to arrange your frames so there are 4 going in opposite directions. And there should be about an 1/8 inch overhang on the bottom square. And what I mean by going in opposite directions is the opening for each frame here will be on this side, here will be on this side, here will be on this side, and here will be on this side. So each side is going to have one opening and one side. And once you have everything lined right where you want it with about an 1/8 inch overhang. Then you're going to go ahead and glue things down. And again, I do like to use wet glue for this because it does give a little bit more flexibility to make sure you keep everything straight and even. And you do want each of the frames to be flush with each other too. So I'll go ahead and glue this down. And I like to use the bottom square as a guide, not the other frames. Just because you want to make sure there's a nice straight overhang on each side. So this is going to go like this. And you'll see where the overhang is because I use my fingers in there to straighten it out. Just like so. And then one more. Voila. And now I'm going to repeat this process. Each of these frames will be stacked 3 high. And they're all going to be going in the same direction. So for this frame, I have the opening there. I'm going to have the opening going the same direction. But I'm only going to do 1 row at a time. So I'm going to stack this right on top, and now I can use the frame underneath as a guide to be perfectly even. Line up the edges. And then if you want, you can fold it down and kind of smooth it out that way. And we're going to continue the process until we have 4 different columns or stacks that are 3 high. See, that's why I like glue, is because sometimes you get a little bit off, and it's so much easier. If you were to do that with double-sided tape, you'd end up ripping the paper. So for this process, I do recommend that you use a wet glue. Preferably one that dries fairly quickly, though. That's okay. Sometimes you have butterfingers. We're going to line it up with the edge. Make sure the edges are lined up. And if 2 of the edges are lined up, then you know the others should be as well. And then you can smooth it down. And then we'll go on to the next one. Now it may not look very sturdy at this point, but it will be once everything is assembled. Right now it's all about getting the frames together. And we're almost done. So right now I have the frames together and it's almost done, but before I can put the top on, you see how everything just kind of pops out like so? I really want to add some stability to this before I try gluing the top on. And so that's where I need to make sure all my drawers are finished. So I'm going to take this base and I'm going to set it aside. And I'm going to return to the drawers and finish cutting and gluing and assembling each of the drawers. Now it may help to actually fold along each of the score lines before you cut the tabs. Okay, now that we have all of the drawers assembled, we're going to take our base back and we're going to just start sliding all of the drawers into each of the frames. And because it hasn't been stabilized yet, there may be a little bit of you might have to kind of push a little bit, but they should slide right in nice like this. And you're going to see how once the drawers are inside each of the frames, it'll stand up a bit straighter. Voila! And now you're going to want to take your second large square, and this is going to just get glued right on the top. Now, when I do this, I like to flip this over and kind of line it up, but you're still going to want to put your adhesive on the box tops themselves. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. And it really does help having the drawers for stability when you do this. I will put the top on now, but then I'm going to flip it over and they'll just kind of help me see how everything is lining up. I want to make sure that the boxes and frames aren't sticking out, and it should look nice like this. And then the next step, I'd like to pull out a drawer from each side just so I don't accidentally glue over where the drawers go. And you're going to take these last 4 black panels and you're going to adhere these right here on the sides of the frames, like so. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to put the adhesive right on the sides, just like so. And then I'm going to pop this right over and make sure it's nice and flush. And if there's any overhang, like if it's too long, then I will just use the box top as a guide and just trim it down to size. Now they should fit nice and perfect, but that's just in case they're too long. And see, it'll fit nice and perfect. And then I'm going to repeat that process on all 4 sides, although I am going to trim these down. Okay, these are all about that much too tall, so I'm just going to kind of trim about that much off. But so here we are, we have the base finished, and now comes the fun part, we get to decorate.